Hi. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll show you how to display 3D objects using Three.js in the FlowFuse Node-RED Dashboard. This tutorial will be divided into several parts. We'll start with the basics by learning how to render simple Three.js geometries in the Node-RED Dashboard and understand the fundamental components required to build a 3D scene. In this video, I'll demonstrate several examples to help you understand the basics of using Three.js in the Node-RED Dashboard. I'll also share the complete Node-RED flow used in this tutorial, so you can follow along and experiment on your own. You can find the download link in the video description below. First, let's display a simple cube that rotates automatically. To render a Three.js object in the Node-RED Dashboard, we're using a template node. The code starts by importing the Three.js library from a CDN. Next, we create a scene, which is the 3D world, and a camera, which defines what the user can see. We also create a renderer, which draws the 3D scene inside the dashboard. To make the cube visible, we add some lighting and a grid helper. In Three.js, an object is usually created from three parts: geometry, which defines the shape; material, which defines the appearance; and mesh, which combines both into a renderable object. Here, we're using a box geometry to create a cube and a green material for its color. After creating the mesh, we add it to the scene using scene. Add dot. Finally, inside the animation loop, we continuously update the cube's rotation and render the scene, creating a smooth spinning effect. This is the basic structure you'll use in most Three.js applications. Next, let's create a blue cylinder. The overall structure is exactly the same as the previous example. The main difference is the geometry used to create the 3D object. Instead of using box geometry, we're using cylinder geometry. The parameters define the top radius, bottom radius, height, and the number of sides. In this example, both radius are set to 0.5, the height is 2 units, and 32 sides are used to create a smooth circular shape. We then create a blue material using mesh standard material, combine the geometry and material into a mesh, and add it to the scene. Finally, the cylinder is rotated inside the animation loop, allowing us to view the shape from different angles while it spins. In the previous two examples, the camera position was fixed, so we could only view the object from a single perspective. In this example, we're adding orbit controls, which allow us to interact with the 3D scene using the mouse. To do this, we first import the orbit controls module from Three.js and connect it to the camera and renderer. With orbit controls enabled, we can rotate around the object by dragging the mouse, zoom in and out using the mouse wheel, and pan the view if needed. We can also define minimum and maximum zoom distances to limit how close or far the camera can move. Inside the animation loop, we call controls update to keep the camera movement smooth by using a damping effect. As a result, instead of looking at a static view, we can freely explore the 3D scene from different angles, making it much easier to inspect objects and build interactive 3D applications. One thing to note is that the import URL is different from the previous examples. That's because Orbit Controls is an additional module from the Three.js examples library and cannot be loaded from the standard Three.js build URL. To make module imports easier in the browser, we're using the esm.sh, which allows both Three.js and Orbit Controls to be imported using the S module syntax. In this next example, we're going to use a group to combine multiple objects into a single unit. Here, I've created two separate objects, a green cube and a blue cylinder. The cube is created using box geometry, while the cylinder is created using cylinder geometry. Each object has its own geometry, material, and mesh, making them completely independent 3D objects. Normally, if we add these objects directly to the scene, we would need to manage their transformations separately. For example, if we wanted both objects to rotate together, we would have to update the rotation of each object individually inside the animation loop. To simplify this, Three.js provides the three-group class. A group acts as a parent container that can hold multiple meshes and even other groups. After creating the group, we add both the cube and the cylinder using the group add method. Notice that we do not add the cube and cylinder directly to the scene. Instead, we add only the group to the scene. Once an object becomes part of a group, it inherits the transformations of that group. This means that if we move the group, all objects inside the group move together. If we scale the group, every object scales together. And if we rotate the group, all child objects rotate as a single unit while keeping their relative positions. Inside the animation loop, we simply update the rotation of group unit instead of rotating the cube and cylinder separately. As a result, both objects rotate together as if they were part of the same assembly. Grouping is a very important concept in Three.js because most real-world 3D models are built from multiple parts. By organizing objects into groups, it becomes much easier to create complex machines, production equipment, robots, factory layouts, or any other hierarchical 3D structure. In this example, we're adding outlines, also known as edges, to our 3D objects. By default, Three.js only renders the surfaces of an object. While this looks realistic, it can sometimes make it difficult to clearly see the shape and boundaries of the object, especially in engineering, industrial, or visualization applications. To solve this, we can generate edge lines using EdgesGeometry. This creates a new geometry that contains only the visible edges of the original object. We then render those edges using line segments and a line basic material, which in this example uses a black color. For the cube, we create an edge geometry from cube geometry and then add the resulting line object as a child of the cube. We do exactly the same thing for the cylinder. Because the edge lines are attached directly to their parent objects, they automatically follow any movement, rotation, or scaling applied to those objects. The result is a much clearer visualization where the object's shape can be identified more easily. This technique is commonly used in CAD-style viewers, machine visualization, factory layouts, and digital twin applications where showing the object structure is often more important than achieving a fully realistic appearance. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next part.